and welcome to episode 51 of All About African Violets. All About African Violets is musically sponsored by Ted Yoder. You can hear and purchase his awesome music on his website at tedyoder.com. It is also available from iTunes. Hi everybody, welcome to my sunroom. Come on in, sit down, relax. And you know what, speaking of iTunes, I'll just get this out of the way. There is still a problem with the iTunes feed. I have spent my whole week going back and forth trying to get someone at Apple to talk to me. I did get a case number, and I emailed with one of their support folks, and the answers I was getting were not very satisfactory. So I went out on the Apple forums, and there was a very helpful man there from the UK who has helped me, hopefully, to get all the information necessary to send to the support people at Apple who deal with podcasts in the store. I've apparently done everything that I can do on my end, but we've done everything we can from our end, and now I need help from Apple. I think, and I could be wrong because I'm not particularly technical in this aspect of what I'm doing with the podcast, but it seems to me that maybe I should have submitted my FeedBurner feed to the store originally rather than the Blip feed, but I think that might have had something to do with how it got set up on Blip, that they automatically sent the feed to the iTunes store. But hopefully, I've sent them all the links and everything for the old feed, the new feed, my page, all this stuff. It's crazy. And I'm very hopeful that this week it will all get straightened out. And for those of you who like to watch on iTunes, you'll be able to get it again, and that it'll download right to your Apple device or your computer or wherever you watch it. So I am sorry about the delay. It is, I'm just reminded of an old Monty Python is what I'm trying to say. Monty Python joke about no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects to get booted off a Blip. Oh well. Anyway, the very last episode, it's actually episode 3 is the last one I'm uploading to the new server that is actually happening as I am sitting here talking to you. It's more than 80% uploaded, and once that's done, I will be able to connect, redo the links on the rest of the episodes. I've done about half of them so far. You may have noticed that they don't all have the same picture anymore, and they look a little different. It may look a little larger to you initially. One of the really great things about the new server that I'm using, which is WordPress, is that there are no ads. So you're not going to have to see any ads, which is kind of cool because we all see enough ads in our life every day, I think. We don't need to see any more. Anyway, welcome to my sunroom. I'm glad you're here. I have lots to share with you today. So let's go right to tips and treasures and let's get started. I want to share with you today another piece of national. This time I'm going to share with you the experience of the commercial sales room, and you'll see that I was very, very excited as I was filming little pieces here and there. I do say the word guys a number of times. Again, this is a regionalism here in the Chicagoland area. Most people, no matter what gender they are, get called you guys. Hey, you guys, what are you doing? Hey, you guys, look at this. This is, and boy, I really noticed it when I was sharing the first videos that I took of the first footage that I shot for you at National, where I was, every time I would see someone, I would be like, you guys, look, it's so-and-so. And this time I just said guys over and over. Guys, look at this. Guys, look at that. So you get my Midwestern voice as I hopefully, I hope you find it as exciting as I did and as I still do, because the commercial sales room, people are waiting in line, guys, to go in. And in fact, it was very funny. I couldn't film this piece, but you'll see that I have the stork's dog with me initially, Apollo, and he is just a great little guy. And we had to have a special sticker on our name badges that denoted us as being able to enter the commercial showroom or sales room. And I was helping the storks with their booth this year, and so I had this little pink heart on my badge. Well, so did Apollo. He had one on one of his dog tags, and it was just hilarious. When we got up to the front door, Linda Hall, who is the immediate past president of the ABSA, she has such a great sense of humor, and she said, "Annie, does that dog have a tag? Can he be in the sales room?" And I'm like, "Why, yes, he does." I showed them his little tag, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, he has a little tag, little heart tag on his dog tag." So we were able to get in and get ready, and so you'll get to see it from my viewpoint and see everybody come in. So take a look. Okay guys, I'm here with Apollo, the stork's dog, and we're going to the sales room because it's getting to be time to sell plants. So you can see my feet and you can see Apollo, and pretty soon you're going to see the line of people waiting to get into the sales room. I'll be right there. So I'm going to move this up. Okay, here we go, getting close. Guys, see the line? These are very getting into it's kind of dark when you get up here. But here is the line of people waiting to get into the sales room. And over here we've got ways and means, and there's all kinds of stuff to look at and to bid on, all kinds of auctions and fundraisers. Be back in just a moment. Well guys, I'm in the commercial sales room before the doors open. And I'm giving you guys a sneak peek. Take a look. Pretty soon, this place is going to be jammed full of folks looking to buy and have some fun. So let's just walk along, take a look. Here's BJ Ohm, and here's Diane Miller. Wave to the podcast. Hi. Everybody's here. It's exciting. Here's Jo from Jo's Violets. And she's got awesome stuff. Check it out. Everyone's here. Here's Buckeye. Here's Jana, who you guys watches the podcast, I think, sometimes, once in a while. And there's Pat Hancock.
Well, you turn them out so fast. I sometimes can't keep up.
I try to do one every week. Here we go. Here's everybody. And here we are over at the Storks. Kent's Flowers. Here's Joyce, and here's Apollo again. Now he's with his mom. He's much happier. I'm just the dog sitter. Guys, Jan Davidson is back here. Jan, wave to the podcast. Jan makes all the most wonderful ribbons, all the ribbons that you see on the website that I've won, Jan made, and they are awesome. So thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
And she's a native Texan, and she's got some pretty awesome plants here for sale. I know you guys wish you were here. I guess, be back. Here we go around. Here's the blooming jungle. Stevens. Guys, there's plants everywhere, and people are going to be coming in here in 20 minutes. Here's the Violet Gallery. I know that you're getting kind of a quick look. Say, wave hi to the podcast. Hi. It's the folks from the Violet Gallery. Yippee. I got a lot of great plants from them last year. I did. Up tomorrow. Rob's. Want to wave to my podcast, Rob? Wave hi. Leaves for sale. PJ's got leaves. Everyone's got stuff. Perfect Petal. And Linden Lion Greenhouses. Everyone's here. That's Elmer, and that's Paul. Wave to the podcast. Hi. Look at all these amazing plants. I know. No, but you're helping out. That's important. Awesome. I want to come back and shop. I already see some I want. Okay, guys, that's the look. And there's the door. And as you can see, there's folks out there, and they're waiting in the line. And pretty soon, everyone will be coming on in. Hi. Wave to my podcast audience. Everyone, this is Linda Hall, everybody. She is the president of the AVSA, so she is first in the line. I'll see you guys very soon. I have to go away. Guys, some of the folks in the wheelchairs are in here, but they have to wait. See, they're over in the corner, but they still have to wait for everybody else. They just kind of let them in, but they can't do anything yet. Now, I just got yelled at by Lynn Lombard, who I adore, but that's okay. I'm standing on a chair. So this is your last look at what it looks like before everybody hits the deck. And Joyce said for me to tell you that the people who are shopping right now, they are vendors or vendors assistants, right?
Right. They're just.
So they're checking things out. Kind of like it's more like chatting, she said. I'm a vendor assistant because I'm helping Joyce and Ken today. There's my friend Diane Miller. Okay, guys. Soon.
And then he
Okay,
came
guys,
home.
it's almost 1 o'clock. That's my watch. There's Joyce.
Hello. Hello.
We're just talking about having to stop taking our coffee.
That's Patty Daniel. She has awesome plants. Say hi to my podcast. Hello. See, look at all the great stuff she has, you guys. She's got straps, she's got violets, she's got more and more and more boxes for when all these ones go. It's very, very cool. And it's very, very close. Okay. Wow, here they come. Here everybody comes, you guys. She let them in early, but here they come. Running into the showroom, trying to get their very favorites. What have they been looking for? What have you been looking for? And today's the day. It's time to shop. Okay, now I have to get off the chair because I already got yelled at. So off we go. So guys, now you hear how loud it is, and you see all the people. Everybody, couple 3 deep over at Lions. Over up tomorrow, all the way around the room. Awesome! See, you guys, you think it slows down after that first rush, but it doesn't. And I'm shopping. I've got a whole bunch of stuff to bring home already. I'm just a maniac. All right. You guys, check this out. I'm at the Optimara table, and this is called Never Florist. Isn't that different? I thought you guys might like to see it. Guys, here's the crowd at Joyce and Ken's table. They're going like hotcakes. Okay, guys, I'm at the very back of the showroom, and now it's about 2:30. It's been about an hour and a half. And do you see that a lot of plants have gone home with people already? Things are already looking picked over. I'll be back. Isn't it exciting? I mean, it's just so much fun. You get in there and you want to look at everything. And sometimes the evening before, that first evening that we have there for the first real events, one of the things that Nancy Hayes does is she has slides, PowerPoint now, of new introductions. So people will see something the night before and they'll think, ooh, I really like how that looks. I'd like to look for that in the sales room. So people come in with their lists and they're all ready to go. And it's like, wow, who's got this? Who's got that? Do you have this? Does anyone have that? And you kind of keep going around and you see all your friends and everyone's shopping and people have armloads of stuff, and it's just a lot of fun, and very exciting. So I hope you enjoyed seeing it. I sure enjoyed sharing it with you. Well, I have some questions to answer for you today. So let me get my glasses on because Paula Bell, hi Paula. Paula asked, she asked me about this at National and I forgot. And so she was smart enough to send me a message on Facebook and say, would you ask about this? She said, can you ask about Physan? This is a product that is used to control algae. And she says, since it is a fungicide and bactericide, will it kill the good bacteria and fungi in soil mixes? So I asked Joyce Stork about this. I'm also going to ask Jeff Smith, but this is Joyce's answer because I don't use Physan, so I really don't know. But Joyce said it is definitely capable of doing that, Paula. So it's definitely capable of killing the good along with the bad. She said when it is used in a weak concentration in reservoir water for African violets to kill algae, there is some question about the likelihood of it being strong enough to kill the good bacteria in the soil too. Guys, big train. We haven't had a big loud rumbly train like this in a while. Sorry. But she says it probably has some effect on the bacteria, but not a thorough enough effect to kill everything. I would not be tempted to use it at a stronger rate than generally recommended. And then because Joyce is so technical and so scientific in her thought process, of course, she goes and reads the label. Yay, Joyce! And she says, all of that is the common wisdom. When I looked at the Physan labeling just now, I found that the directions say emphatically that it should never be used in any type of irrigation system. There is no explanation of why. So the use of it in our wicking reservoirs to prevent the growth of algae is an off-label use and should not be promoted publicly. The Physan directions for houseplants on their label give a concentration that is to be used to clean trays and surfaces, but not for watering. It may well be that the destruction of good bacteria is their concern. So Paula, I hope that helps you. I will still see what Dr. Jeff Smith says and let you know. Then I had a great question from Elsie Maxwell. Elsie, hi. It was great to meet both you and Paula at National. I love that you guys are asking questions. Elsie left this question on the website, and it is a very good one. He says, you've mentioned something in this podcast that I've always been confused about. Entering no IDs in an African violet show. Could I just give a no ID plant a personal name and then enter it into a show? Take your plant, and he means the big box violet. He says, if you named it, say, Annie's Pink Surprise, would you still be able to enter it into a show in one of the generic horticultural classes? Am I right in that you wouldn't be able to enter it into one of the collection classes because it lacks a formal description in First Class 2 or the AVML, that's the African Violet Master List? Could a no ID or plant without a description win the top awards like Best in Show? Oh, and he says, I should point out that I think there is a difference in giving a no ID a personal name compared to guessing on a name. Guessing the plant's name with another named variety is a big no-no. This is a really good question, Elsie, and I'm really glad you asked it, because I did talk a little about the reasons why I couldn't take the big box violet to show. The main reason being that I don't know what variety it is. You cannot just take a plant like the big box violet and give it a name and take it to show. No, you cannot do that. And I want to share with you, hang on, I'm just setting my notes down here because I have to get my handbook, which is in an old blue notebook. But guys, if you don't have this one on your shelf yet, this is the African Violet Society of America's handbook for growers, exhibitors, and judges. In the vernacular, this is called the Judge's Handbook. But I would like you to notice that the first word is exhibitors. This is the true Bible. You know, I mean, you know my top three. This book, You Can Grow African Violets by Joyce and Kent Stork, and Pauline Bartholomew's Growing to Show. Those are my top 3. The AVSA handbook, this is the Bible. You really want to have this one on your shelf. And I want to share with you, this is with regard to shows and how this works, because Elsie, you've asked multiple questions and they all pertain to the same thing. So first you asked me, can we just do this? Well, you can't. Well, why not? Well, the AVSA rules, there are rules for shows. And when an affiliate show, like a club does a show, an AVSA judged show, we have to comply with all the AVSA rules. So one of the things in the handbook says AVSA affiliates may arrange their schedule and their show in any order they wish, as long as all the requirements are met. However, it simplifies and speeds up classification of entries and judging of all shows follow the same general order. And in the handbook, they give you an order, and every show I think that I've ever entered has used that standard order. And one of the things that we must include then in a show schedule are general rules. And we must, as an affiliate club, must comply. You can kind of do pretty much whatever you want, but you must, as long as you don't break any AVSA rules. So rule number 2, this is on page 43 of your judge's handbook, and it's under the section AVSA rules to be included in schedules. And rule 2 says all African violet species, cultivars, and other gesneriads shall be correctly named. And this is a broad statement. So, I suppose you could construe it as, well, there shouldn't be a misspelling in the name. But what it means when we say that a plant is correctly named, it means that we really do know its name. If you were to take a plant from a big box store and give it a name of your own and bring it to show, you're kind of taking someone else's work, really. And not that you would ever do this. I don't think anyone would really ever do that, because it wouldn't get past classification and entries, because they would question it, because it'd be a variety that nobody had heard of before. And people who do entries and classification, they know. And they also, almost everyone uses the entries program now, and that attaches to first class. So there is another piece of this rule. It continues on and says, however, all cultivar names need not be listed in AVSA publications. A cultivar does not have to be listed in the master variety list. They must have missed this when they did the latest update. This should say African Violet Master List, or supplements to be. It doesn't have to be listed there to be entered in an affiliate or a convention show. Sometimes older varieties were never listed for some reason or another. Also, some cultivars may be so new that they have not yet been listed, but this should not keep them from being accepted for entry in an AVSA show. A hybridizer's list may be presented but is not required. So that's all of Rule 2, but let's talk about this first part, that all plants should be correctly named. If you just named a plant whatever you wanted to name it, somebody else hybridized that plant. And we know that a lot of the plants that we find in our big box stores actually are Optimara or Holtkamp varieties. They just don't seem to have a name on them. And as you mentioned, Elsie, you really can't use first class to try to go, oh, well, this looks like this one, or this looks like this one, and I think it's this one. And truthfully, the big box violet, I'm pointing to it, the big box violet really resembles Optimara Michigan, but I don't know that it's really Optimara Michigan. It could be anything. It could have sported from something else, but it's a no ID violet. I cannot enter it in a show. So to answer your first main question, no, you cannot just give a violet a name and take it to show with you. Now, the next question, the next piece of this that you asked was, you said, am I right in that you wouldn't be able to enter it into one of the collection classes because it lacks a formal description in First Class 2 or AVML, in the AVML? Excuse me, you guys. I think I'm losing my voice. That would be terrible. Even if you, this is hard to answer. Let me put my glasses back on. I mean, I want to make sure I explain this well. It says that you wouldn't be able to enter it in a collection class because it lacks a formal description. That is not the criterion for a collection class. The collection class, the AVSA collection classes, the plants must be registered. To be a registered variety, that means it's going to have a number, and there are plenty of plants, of cultivars, in First Class 2 that have a formal description, but they are not registered and they do not have an AVSA registration number. So the criterion for the AVSA collection classes is not the formal description, it's that the plants are registered and have a registered number. Okay, so that's that piece, and I hope that was clear for you. Could a no ID or a plant without a description win the top awards like Best in Show? Well, no, because you can't enter them in the show, so they couldn't win. But if you have a plant that is not a registered variety, it's just a cultivar that is, it's a known variety, but it's not registered, and if someone hybridized it, it's in there, it has the hybridizer's name and its full description, and you have a plant of that and you take it to show. You can enter that in any of the generic, any of the horticultural class in which it fits in the description. And in the show, so you'll see that the schedule within the schedule is always the law of the show. So for example, if you had a standard plant with any type of blossom with green foliage, any type blossom, that would be a section. You see this? Here's the section, and then within the section are different classes for the different colors of blossom or different types. So for example, in this example, standard plants, that means a standard, not a mini, not a semi. Any type blossom, the class itself will be descriptive of of the blossom color, and it has green foliage, as opposed to the next section in this schedule that would be standard plants, any type foliage with any type blossom with variegated foliage. So there's dark blue and purple, light to medium blue, light to medium pink, dark pink, rose, and coral. Sometimes some of these similar colors are all collected, and it depends on the size of the show. But so this is just a sample, and then you would be able to enter it. But if you look here, you will see that this is the criterion for the AVSA class, the AVSA collection classes. And it says very clearly there that an AVSA collection of 3 different registered, this is a standard one, standard varieties, all of the same type, three single crown or 3 trailers. So it's, the criterion for the collection class, again, is that it's a registered variety, not that it just has a description in First Class or in the AVML. I hope that helps. Did I catch all of them? Because you asked, this was such a great question. Okay. I think I might disagree with you. There really isn't any difference between giving a no ID violet your own name and trying to compare it to a variety in First Class 2 and say that it's that variety. When you have a no ID violet, like the big box violet, I encourage you to just use it at home, love it and enjoy it in your home. It's not a plant to take to show because you don't truly know its proper name. And I hope that helps, because it's an important thing. My first violets that I told you about, like way back, I think in episode 1 of my rescue mission to the jewel, I came home with 3 plants, and I took them, at least 2 of them, I think, to Southern California with me. That was an adventure, getting through the agricultural inspection to go to California, but they did. And one of them it was big. It was a big violet. It was kind of a purpley, light purple, and it was beautiful. But I had no idea what it was. But I called it Big Chicago because it reminded me of home, because I brought it from home, from Chicago to Southern California. So I just called it Big Chicago. But of course, I never could enter it in a show because that was just the name I gave it at home. That's its name at home, since it never left home, it was all right. But you can't do that. I think I've said that enough times now, right? That's the kind of rule. There's another rule here that we always have to have in every schedule, and it's Rule 11. All plants must have been in the possession of the exhibitor for at least 3 months before exhibiting in a show. And that rule is to keep someone from going into the commercial sales room, picking up a really nice looking plant, walking around, turning around, you're paying for it, turning around and walking over to entries and entering it as their own. Because they didn't grow it. Somebody else grew it. So you have to have any plants that you take to show they have to have their right name, and they have to have been in your possession for at least 3 months prior to the date of the show. So great questions, both of you guys. Thank you so much for asking them. It's great. Well, it's time to take a look at what's on the stands. So I just wanted to tell you one more thing about this before you go and look at it. My friend Carolee Carter gave me a challenge. She gave me that leaf of Ma's Winter Moon. I think it's Winter Moon. Oh, now I've got a Western Moon and a Winter Moon. That's going to be terrible. But this was her challenge, and I know she wants to see it every week, so you will see that leaf. It's still looking pretty good. And I did film the look on the stands on Friday because I was at the Highland Games this weekend. I think some of you know that I am a bagpiper. I did not compete or anything this year. I've never competed. I might compete next year. We'll see. I am seriously playing again, which brings great joy to my heart. I really love to play. It's so wonderful. But the Highland Games here in Illinois, they're up in Itasca. They're in June. And truthfully, we had rainy, cool weather. It was just like being in Scotland this weekend. And it was a lot of fun. So I was there overnight and then came back on Saturday afternoon. And so I shot the look on the stands on Friday morning. And I think I must have been kind of excited to be going to the Highland Games because the footage is a little jumpy, so I want to apologize for that right away and before you even see it. So go take a look and I'll be right back. Well, good morning. It's Friday morning. I'm taking a look at what's on the stands because I'm going to be away again this weekend for a little while. And this is the top shelf now. Here's Dancing Trail. Let's tell you what's up here. This is EK Sky Azure. This is Shadow Magic. This is in a green pot, makes it harder to read. And none of my glasses on. Oh, this is Chiffon Masquerade, sorry. Here's Blueberry Sprite. This is Little Wichita Girl. And this is House of Amani. Looking a whole lot better since it got repotted, don't you think? Let's take a look on the second shelf. Here's Smooch Me, still needs to be repotted. Here is Fresh Air, looking great. And this is Gala Pink. Happy now that it's been repotted too. There you go. It's leaning this way, so here's Powwow. And here is Reflections of Spring. It does need to be repotted. I try to wait until we've had at least a good bloom before repotting. So some of these I just didn't have enough time last weekend, and they will get repotted. But out in the sunroom there are some that just haven't bloomed yet. So I was kind of waiting. Here is Ulbietzia, I think. Zima Ulbietzia. Here's Fisherman's Paradise, and you'll notice it's dropped a leaf. This happens sometimes when you repot, and I find for me that it often happens more on a highly variegated plant. They are always just a little touchier, so we'll get rid of that. Here's Santee Sioux. Celebrity Status, Buckeye Celebrity Status, and Optimara Hawaii. Now this one seems to be growing in the wagon wheel style, kind of open, very open. I'm not sure that that's how it's supposed to be. We'll see. Let's go take a look in the basement. Well, here we are in the basement, and this is the tray that was domed. These are the plantlets that I brought back from National. And this is where they got to hang out for a while. I realize they're close to some other stuff, but this shelf, other than these few things over here, has kind of been my isolation spot, and it's what I can do right now. So that's the way it is. And everybody looking pretty good. This guy tipped over. Boop. I tilted the tray. And you know what? You're always going to lose a leaf or two, I think. Let's get that off of there. There we go. Ooh, there. Okay, everybody here looking good. Here is the first dome tray. Oh my gosh, there's something in there that's going to try to bloom while it's still on the leaf. You see it? Right there. Look and see what that is. Here's my challenge leaf from Carol Lee. So far, it's still looking pretty good. And the plant in there is Peridot Skies. Got that from Sue Schenkel. She has a new last name. She just got married. I don't know what it is. And here is the other tray. Okay, Tommy Lou. Oh, maybe not. No, whatever. This wasn't Tommy Lou. What is this one? Snow Festival. It didn't make it. So there it goes. You know, and that happens. And guys, it's okay. I have so many leaves coming. Now let's take a look down here. Here are the larger plants. They all look a little bit spindly. And again, I think that's pretty normal. And we'll just let them grow. They'll take their time. Here are the new streps, the radars that I got. And unfortunately, this one, Radar's Magic, not looking good. I think it may make a comeback. I'm going to let it dry out a little bit still, and I'll cut some of this dead tissue off. Sometimes travel is hard on plants, and sometimes you lose one or two. So, as I said before, it happens. But this is the one that had the leaves that were all twisty, remember? And it's looking good, and this one's looking good. This one is called Radar's Tensi. And this one, I think Jan told me that this is Party Parasol, and this is one of the ones that Sundown used to do his crosses for the straps. So, crossing my fingers for that one. Let's go take a look at the rest of the straps. Not too much going on here. Blue Mars is blooming, and everybody else just kind of hanging out and growing. Dale's Polar Berry is really it's growing. It's really growing well. I'm kind of excited about that one. And I'm excited about Heartland's Gold too. Let's go upstairs. Well, here we are up in the sunroom. And this is the top shelf. Things looking good. Waiting for this one to open up. I think that it's going to bloom just beautifully. And it is... Okay, this is another Russian. It's Forest Orchid is the U.S. translation. And I gotta say, Can you see it's full of suckers? So I need to clean it up. And let's walk over here quickly. This is Granger's Peach Frost, and it is just getting ready to bloom. So I'm looking forward to that. And down here on the Gesneriid shelf, here is Jersey Snowflakes now. Here's Ma's Old Fashioned. And here's our Columnias. Over there, the Escananthus obconicus. I guess none of you grow it because nobody left me a comment. And here's Texas Hot Chili. It fell over, but it's trying to bloom. There. Woo! That one. And, oh, there's one under here too. This one might have got, oh, there we go. I knocked it over on the stand. I hate when that happens. And our third shelf that we have now. Everybody looking good. Rob's Wagga Wagga blooming away. All right, we'll take a look at the big box violet. Well, here it is. And you can really tell this week now that these blooms are fading fast. But holy smokes, I think it's been in bloom for a month, which is really kind of unheard of. So I'm really, and it just has this huge head of blossoms still. And some of these blossoms, like the ones over here, they are still in very good shape. And I just haven't been able to bring myself to take these off yet. Might as well enjoy them while I have them, right? Well, that's the look at what's on the stands this week. I'll be right back. It's really interesting to see everything, isn't it? And all those plantlets that I brought back. I know they don't appear to be too isolated, but they are. I mean, that stand kind of, nothing else is leaving that stand. Everything else that I brought up, all the plants from Illinois, they're back up here in the sunroom. The stuff that's down there is going to stay down there for another 12 weeks at least. They'll stay down there through the summer. So everything will remain isolated there. And also, everything that I potted up, all the new varieties that I brought home with me, all got some Marathon, a systemic in the potting mix, a small amount. Less is more with Marathon. And that should take care of anything that might be lurking. But truthfully, I felt that everything I brought home looked to be in really great shape. And I did lose a leaf, which is okay. I had done the same kind of make a stem cut on the leaf of Tommy Lou that I had, and that's why I thought that was Tommy Lou. When I saw it, I thought, oh, that must be Tommy Lou. But I think Tommy Lou is holding its own so far, so it might make a comeback. I'd sure love to grow that one. That is a true vintage variety. So anyway, well, it's time to get the bail money ready. But I don't have any events to share with you. There's nothing until July, but I will have one to share with you next week. So before we go to move forward, what I'll share with you during the bail money is that I've already shared with you that I am still struggling a little bit with iTunes and trying to get the feed changed over from the podcast. If worse comes to worse and I am not able to get this switched over effectively in the next week or two, what I will have to do is delete the podcast that exists now in the iTunes store and resubmit the new one, resubmit it again with the new feed. And I'm hoping to avoid that, because if I have to do that, I lose all of your reviews, all of your star ratings, and I would hate to do that because you've all been so generous and so kind with those on iTunes. It's really been wonderful. But I did want to remind you that next week will be episode 52. That means that we will have been visiting with each other every week for a year. I can hardly believe it's been a year. And there will be a drawing. I will explain it all to you next week, and you'll be able to leave a comment on the website on next week's episode, and then that will be I'll give you some info about that, and that's how we'll work at doing a drawing, and the winners will be chosen by the random number generator, and we'll go from there. So anyway, it is time to keep moving forward. And I hope that you've all had a great week. I feel like I have been running nonstop since I came home from National. It has been a very busy 2 weeks. And I have another busy weekend next weekend. It is for those of you who are knitters and are fiber artists like myself, it's the Midwest Fiber and Folk Art Fair. And it is a wonderful fair. It's up in Grayslake, Illinois at the Lake County Fairgrounds. This is, I believe, its 6th year. We don't have very many fiber events, and this is fiber and folk art, so there's all kinds of interesting stuff at it. And I'm a big supporter of that. I'm what they call a member of the flock. And I pay them, I donate some money to them every year because I think it's important to support this type of an event in my area because there just aren't that many. But my friend Tammy, the proverbial knitter, will be coming up and visiting me for that. And, maybe I can coax her to sit in on the podcast and ask some more beginner questions. And like she did last year, it was kind of fun. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I hope that you've had, my 2 weeks, I feel like I just got home from National today. That's how fast these 2 weeks have gone. So anyway, I hope that you have had a great week, and I hope that your days to come will be filled with all the things you love. Good growing. I'll see you next time.